Okay, jumping into the 1-1-3-4 check. So pretty much what you're going to see, and hopefully you can see my illustrations as I get on there. But F1, and what I've learned watching this 1-1-3 is that this guy is actually more aggressive than I thought originally. And I always thought it was a little bit more passive with the 1-1-3, but it's not. I mean, this guy is getting up, he's splitting and pushing, and he's going pretty hard a lot of the times to kind of try to predict one side of the ice or the other for the opposition. F2 is kind of holding the line here, and he's kind of making that red line his goal. And then you can see back here, they've got their line of three guys. It's pretty aggressive here at the blue line. So the pros, and this isn't me being critical or positive or super, it's just that what I saw watching it is that three across the blue line, it's tough to penetrate for the opposition to get in there because everybody wants an analytical control carry into the zone. They know what that means nowadays about what that can increase and how it can increase your offense. So, but it's tough to do versus the 1-1-3. And also too, the three players are back there all the time. So those guys are easier back, good support for pucks breaking out. And that's kind of what you'll want to make sure you have close support on the breakouts. Cons are transition. So you have two forwards. You can imagine here, if they turn the puck over down the ice somewhere in this area here, you've got one forward down here. Well, you got to get your second forward up, and you got three players back here. So you don't have a lot of puck support if you were to turn the puck over in the O zone. And then lastly, and I said I might be changing my mind on this, but I thought it was like, I first did it was like maybe a bit of a back off mindset, and that's not necessarily the case. So the more I kind of dug into this one, and the more I watched, so just showing some clips. And we'll start here with this one. We'll start with the Arizona, and they're going to be in white here. We'll start with quite a few of their clips, and we'll show you a couple of Tucson's as we get going here with it. So here's one. So you can see how far down he is. He's down here. He's pressuring, trying to split the ice in half for the most part. And then from there, he returns on a reattack. And you can see Colorado here has got a lot of jerseys back, but they're coming up. And here's this two. So he's in the middle of the ice, kind of holding that red line, just like the diagram. So as one is splitting and pushing and coming back, it's two's responsibility to be aggressive on both sides here of the red line and try to make them make plays. So you can see he gets over here, gets onto this puck, doesn't work out. They go back. He ends up replacing now as F1, and the one who is here is now coming back in the middle. So now he takes over F1's role. He takes over F2's role back and behind. So now you can see, sorry, it's a little bit blurry, but here's now F2 holding the middle. Puck comes right to him. A line of three is behind him. They get the puck and they start transitioning the other way. Okay. Looking at the dark colored jerseys now in this one. So getting up now, F1 is here, splitting and pushing. He doesn't get it done. So now he doesn't cut himself back because he'll be underneath. So he reloads back up through the middle of the ice. Now as the camera catches up, now you can see two who's in the middle. He'll start to now proceed. You can see he's the one whose his job is to try to get here, hold that red line for the group. One's coming back through with speed. And I thought this was just a good illustration of looking at, you can see your defenseman back here in this line of the three, and this is always their forward on this side. So they get back into transition. Okay, now we're looking at the maroon or the wine colored jersey. So one is going, good job, splits and pushes. And this is one thing that's unique with this, the 1-1-3, is that they can have their line of three guys. This is actually their F3 who's back in this lane, but he's all the way up here now. So he's attacking where this puck goes, continues on. One goes back here. Three realizes, or he puts his hand back up. I'm going to get back into my lane. And here's two again, back through the middle. He's pushing across, being aggressive. So they don't interchange with three. Once that guy is locked into this lane, F3 stays there, unlike what we saw before with 1 and 2. But those guys will hold those lanes, and then they're getting back onto those pucks. Okay, again, maroon jersey. So you can see a little bit of a turnover here, and all of a sudden they're going. Again, he continues himself above the puck. 2 is now engaged, coming back through. 1 is returning into 2 spot. And now you can see the line of 3 here kind of getting across the line here to make sure that those guys are holding that blue line. I'll show that in a little bit, just how aggressive they can be. But it's also, too, a really good look just right here. You've got a 4-on-1 coming back to break out pucks. And I think that's what also makes this forecheck pretty effective, too, because you want to have that close puck support in and around the puck. Okay, looking at the black jerseys now. You can see 1 gets up. 2 is in the middle there, gets a little bit off to the one side, but just shows here too that this third forward, he's aggressive. He's trying to stand up beyond the blue. They don't want to give up that line for free. Like we said, it's not easy to get in there with puck possession. So they do a good job, transition over and hold that line. Here, sorry, watching the white jerseys now. So puck is going back. Here you can see one pursuing, makes the play. Two's now up a little bit deeper. So this could be off of Priska, what they're doing. You can see now the defenseman is all the way up here at the red line. They're bringing 4 guys back. And now you can see an F3 being really aggressive, almost up to the red line here to hold that line. So one thing that these guys, I think, too, as they do their pre-scouts, and obviously they're pretty good at what they do, but now they can move that line of 3 guys up and back. So sometimes they're holding the blue and sometimes they can be aggressive and hold the red. This one here, again, we're looking at the white jerseys. Holds, gets up, and again, just a great illustration of, look at those 4 guys are back on the screen right now to break out pucks. So difficult for the other team to set up their forecheck when there's only 1 guy getting down there for a little bit of pursuit and they've already got 4 guys back. And this is just to kind of, you'll see a better view here as it starts, but I'm just showing you, I guess it makes it easier, I would say, for the team that's coaching this for sure, is that a lot of times I call this a control breakout system. So their defenseman's behind the net and he's in control here. You can see he has it. Here's F1. So sometimes you have a different forecheck for your controlled forecheck versus a controlled breakout. And now as the camera changes angles here, you can see the 1, here's 2 is up, but they're still in their 1-1-3. They can bring their guys up deeper, hold the line still, but it's just a good look that makes it easier. They're doing their 1-1-3 in a controlled forecheck and or neutral zone forecheck. So it makes things very easy for their players or players getting called up. And this is just every time I do one of these things, I try to look at some breakers. So things that are effective versus a 1-1-3. So Philly has the puck. Again, we're looking at, there's the wine colored team is Arizona, but they come back, and I find this unique as opposed to a D to D and a hinge. So in other words, the defenseman comes in really deep underneath and he pursues up and he can go back. I call this the D to D jump. So when this player passes at D to D, he takes off immediately. So now you can see they're set up with 1. You can see 2. Now 3 is getting into his lane. But because as soon as he passes, he takes off with Philly. He gets himself up. He finds a seam in there right away. So they're almost trapping 1. 2 can't get to that line in time here. So now all of a sudden you can see Philly swung off. They have a ton of speed going through the neutral zone here. And the 2 can't catch up, and they're a little bit hesitant now standing up on the line. So they get a controlled entry, which is pretty good for them. So that's why I try to throw something different in there. Okay, here's Tucson. So that's the maroon colored jersey here and here. So you can just see sometimes at the American League level, we don't have the same capabilities video-wise, camera-wise. So you can see sometimes you have a better video look. So now you can see the 1 and the 2. And just a good job of their guys getting up, and just wanted to illustrate, like, look where their players are. They're holding the red here. We saw some ones in the NHL where they're more holding the blue, but these guys are all the way inside the red, working their way back, and a really good job by 1 and 2 through the neutral zone. Here's Tucson again, is the white team here, playing San Diego in the retro blue here. So good job with 1. 2's in the middle, as we've seen, pretty consistent. And again, really aggressive, getting up, holding that line, and then they can get onto those pucks. And you can see too, off these turnovers, there's 2 players that are together from the opposition, but again, there's 4 there on defense. So it's good for those guys that have good close puck support when they're breaking those pucks. Okay, almost done here with these guys. 1 goes in, gets himself back in. 2 is now proceeding. 1's filling back in. Again, you can see the line of 3, really aggressive, holding up on that red, and then going back on these transitions, getting onto these pucks. 1 here deep, 2 is up. And again, I just think it's a really good job with these guys. Obviously, I think Iowa was a team, Minnesota's farm team, they're bringing 5 players back to try to counteract the 1-1-3. But in turn, you can see now the Tucson's done a really good job of getting their line all the way up inside the red and then creating the turnover almost at the opposition